Every Mother's Day, Lori's kids would fill out those All About Mom questionnaires at church. The ones that ask about Mom's favorite food, favorite color, favorite hobbies. And they take a wild and usually unflattering stab at guessing her age. One Mother's Day, Lori was reading through these questionnaires on the way home from church, and they were way off. She laughed at their funny answers, but then realized, my kids don't have a clue who I am. Here's Lori.
Nothing they said. Some of them didn't even get my hair color correct. And I'm thinking, I'm around you every day. I dedicate my whole life to you, and you don't know what color hair I have, So, and I'm reading, and it's favorite food, hot dog, pizza, favorite color, orange, favorite thing to do, basketball. Things, again, I love watching basketball, but I thought, my kids, they're talking about themselves. They don't see me as an individual person. They just see me as kind of an extension of who they are.
This is the How She Moms podcast, where we talk about how different moms solve the same problems. I'm Whitney Archibald, a mother of 5 kids myself. I collect ideas so you can pick and choose what works for you and your family. Today we're going to talk about mom's secret identity, the woman behind the mom. Gandhi said, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." Many mothers are really good at the lose yourself part and the service part, but they forget that the goal in the first half of the sentence is to find yourself. Depending on how you approach it, motherhood can help you develop, discover, and refine who you really are. Or it can usurp your identity until you define yourself only by that role. When this happens, chances are your kids define you only by that role as well. Lori, for one, was not about to let that happen. She made sure they all had lunch so they'd have some stamina, and then she sat her family down in a row on the couch and started her speech.
Guys, I appreciate you filling out these forms, but I noticed that they're really about you, and they're not about me. And I started just kind of telling them that mom is a person, that I have my own ideas and dreams and goals and needs and wants and things that I like and don't like, that I'm a person, that I exist on my own too. I'm a part of all of them, but that I'm also a woman and a person and my own person. And they kind of looked at me and scratched their heads like, what? So I knew we were onto something, but I then kind of continued to tell them about my life, things, little cute memories when I was a little kid, things that I liked, what I like to do now. I told them some things that had happened that were hard and made me a little sad, when somebody had hurt my feelings, or when I had injured my knee and I was a track star and how that felt. And I talked about things that were really funny and things that I found funny, and talked about movies I liked and shows I liked and things I liked to do in my free time, and interests I had, and what my favorite food really was, and the colors that I actually really liked, and when they're not around, what I do and what I think about. And they they sat there, and a couple times they were like, raised their hand. and I just said, I'm not done yet. And they kind of put their hand down. And I said, Mother's Day is an amazing day, but it's about moms. And it's about honoring and thinking about moms. And so that's why I'm doing this with you guys. I want you to know that this is kind of my day. And we need to think of other people. It's not always about us, and I kind of claimed the fact that I did not just exist to serve them, but that I was a person. I had a personality. And, they found it interesting when I talked about my dreams, places I wanted to go, places I had been. I was really glad I did it. It is still kind of joked about every Mother's Day, like, oh, be careful, because we may have to have a sit down with mom again. And my little one, I remember he said, boy, Mom, you're talking a lot about yourself when I was doing it. And I was like, you know what? I am. You're right. So the neat thing that came from that is my birthday. They usually are pretty good at remembering and doing little things on their own. And I do feel like it reminded them that parents have feelings too. And we love them, and we can very easily lose ourselves in being a parent and and being in their life and making sure we do all we can. But that may not be really a good thing either.
You better believe Lori's kids are really good at those questionnaires now. Lori is one of the wisest mothers I know, and you'll definitely be hearing from her a lot on this podcast. Lori's story reminds me of one of my favorite blog posts by the wonderful April Perry on the Power of Moms website. It's called Mommy is a Person, and I've used that catchphrase a lot in my house since reading it. In the article, she made a list of 9 basic things that all people should be able to do, but that moms often find difficult. Number 1, use the restroom by ourselves. Number 2, take a shower and get ready for the day. Number 3, exercise. Number 4, read. Number 5, think. Number 6, have conversations with other people. 7, snuggle with their spouses. 8, take a break. And 9, dream. Then she went about figuring out how she could reclaim all the things on her list, and along with them, reclaim her personhood. The whole article is a great read, and I'll link to it in my show notes. This concept is really important. Yes, you're a mom, but you're also you. And you can be you and still be a mom. If you let mom become your only identity, when the kids eventually leave home, they'll leave you with an identity crisis. No discernible hobbies or interests, and a lot of time on your hands. Last summer, I hiked my first 14er, a mountain above 14,000 feet, with my husband. Wading through wildflowers and streams, burning my lungs and my legs, and looking out at the endless peaks and valleys, I felt a sudden explosion of joy and thought, this is who I am. I almost needed to reintroduce myself to this person. In high school, I defined myself by mountains. Not a week went by that I wasn't fishing in them, hiking in them, rock climbing in them, or at least gazing at them with wonder. Now here I was, living in Colorado, and maybe making it up to the mountains every other month if I was lucky. That day on Mount Harvard made me think about the other things that define who I am. Yes, I'm a mother, and that is a huge part of my identity. But I am also a writer, reader, pianist, singer, chef, cyclist, dancer, hiker, climber, tennis player, teacher, public speaker, and a believer in God. I've gone through long periods of time when I haven't done some of these things, but they're still part of who I am. I've also spent a lot of my life feeling like an imposter. When I discovered rock climbing in high school, I didn't call myself a climber, even though I climbed once a week. I wasn't an expert, so I didn't think I could claim the title. For years, as a young mother, I didn't call myself a writer, even though I had worked as a professional writer for years, because I wasn't currently writing. I didn't claim to be a singer, even though that's a huge part of my everyday life, because I rarely performed and because it sounded like bragging. But I've come to believe that you can and should claim anything you love and that defines who you are, no matter how skilled or professional you are. Even someone who can't carry a tune should be able to claim that they're a singer if they love it and do it a lot. I am not a great dancer, but I do it at least once a week, and I love it. So I claim the title of dancer. Imposter syndrome especially applies to motherhood. Who doesn't feel like an imposter when they bring that first baby home? Suddenly, you're in charge of this needy little creature, and you're supposed to have all the answers. We gain the required skills little by little, along the way, but we get the title, Mom, immediately. At every stage with every new child, I feel imposter syndrome again. I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but I'm Mom, and I claim that title wholeheartedly. It's also okay not to claim stuff. I'm not a crafter, painter, stylist, shopper, interior designer, or esthetician. I don't decorate my house for any holidays besides Christmas. My children's church doodles have far surpassed my own, and I'm fine with that. There are infinite versions of both woman and mom. We all get to create our own version. In an interview on the podcast, The Women with Fire, Jamie Cook said, I can be whatever mom I want to be. I can be really fit. I can be really clean and organized. I can be an amazing cook. I can be a really fun mom, but I can't be all those versions of a mom at one time. I'll link to that podcast and Jamie's fabulous Instagram account in my show notes. As our version of motherhood evolves and changes to meet different phases of our lives, we pick up new interests and talents that enrich our lives. Another one of my favorite podcast episodes is How to Be the Mom You Are Instead of the Mom You Think You Should Be, an interview on the 3 in 30 podcast with Julie Bastido. She made a list of all the things she does not do as a mother, including organizing playdates, skiing, camping, blogging, or podcasting, and doing anything, including exercise excessively, and then she gave herself permission not to do them. Julie wasn't just making a list of all the things she's bad at. In fact, she doesn't feel bad about this list at all. She says, I realized, well, of course those are things I cannot do, or never do, or don't enjoy doing, because those things have nothing to do with who I am. We are constantly reading on social media or reading in parenting books or following on television all of these things as mothers that we're supposed to be, and very infrequently do we recognize who we really are. Then Julie made a list of all the things she does do well as a mother to contribute to her family, including patience, reading good literature, and applying what she learns from it to motherhood, reading aloud, and teaching. All of us have things that we could add to both lists, and we might as well embrace those lists. I'm going to end with a list of my own, some of the amazing mothers I know, and the things that give them that this is who I am feeling. My goal with giving you this list is to get you thinking about the unique attributes you bring to your own version of motherhood. They could be things on this list. They could be totally different things. But your own list is what makes you uniquely your kind of mom. Juliana is a painter. She paints when she can, and she teaches her kids and other people's kids how to paint. Last spring, she left her 5 kids with her husband for a weekend and went on an art retreat with her sister. Molly is good at family finance. She likes to have her own finances in order and helps others do the same. Jennifer is a teacher and a swimmer. Even though she could easily argue that she doesn't have time for it with her 6 children, she teaches swim lessons every May and June to share both of these gifts with others and to feel like herself. Sarah feels most like herself when she's baking. Last year, she opened up a cookie shop from her home. Ashley is a crafter and inventor. She's also my cousin. She has turned this talent into a hugely successful website and business called Make It and Love It with brilliant ideas and tutorials. Susan, my mom, is a genealogist. She dabbled with this hobby while she was raising us, but now that we're grown, she treats it as a part-time job, and she's really good at it. My sisters, Haley and Cassie, are singers, and now they sing together professionally in a trio while raising their young families. Sandy is an accomplished dancer who now cultivates that talent by sharing it with students at the gym. I am one of the lucky beneficiaries of that talent. She's amazing. Whatever your brand of motherhood, embrace it, cultivate it, and spend time doing those things that make you feel like you. Thank you for listening to the How She Moms podcast. I'd love to find out how you mom. There are 4 main ways to add your voice to this How She Moms community. First, you can email me at whitney@howshemoms.com, or you can go to my contribute page at howshemoms.com and find out what topics I'm currently researching. There will be questionnaires that you can fill out there. You can also follow me on Instagram to see daily tips about how different moms approach the current topic. Finally, you can sign up to receive email questionnaires for each new topic so you can contribute your ideas. Special thanks to my mom for playing my theme music. She's been playing this song since I was a little girl, and to me, it's part of the soundtrack of motherhood.